Hello, welcome to what is not another video about cancel culture. That's what this is not. Definitely not a video in which, I seek to demonstrate that there is no such thing as cancel culture, but only that, Machiavellian practice of fucking everyone on the internet, which only in and of itself signifies a popular redistribution of the same tools deployed since forever by the tabloid media, but stripped as a concept of all meaning and context and reduced to a weaponized thought-terminating cliche to benefit conservative grifters. This is not that. I wouldn't do something like that. I'm a hot content creator, I'm too exciting a content creator to do that kind of thing. No, this is a video in which I'm going to chat for a while about Tom Ballard, comedian, and then I'll be really exciting, and I'm going to show you an exclusive, scandalous, exclusive, hot content exclusive. And it's a big controversial video, a clip of Mark Latham. It's never seen before hot content. And, you will like and share and subscribe. And share and like and subscribe and hit the content notification bell button and subscribe. And we'll all take down our enemy Mark Latham because, we'll target his political party and demand accountability and they'll all cave and he'll get fired and he'll die broken, miserable, and cancel culture and rah. But it's definitely not a video about cancel culture. It's hot, exclusive content. I fucking sat there, didn't I, ripping that shitty jangling typewriter noise from YouTube and the shitty ad agency drums. Do you know that? Have you spotted that out there? Happens a lot lately. I took that whole fucking two-tone sliding panel marketing agency thing from them, because everyone does that now, don't they? And that's how you signify that you're a hot content creator who's working with a marketing agency. I mean, obviously I'm not, and that's why I thought it was funny. Recently, comedian Tom Ballard got in a spot of bother, a bit of trouble. His 2021 Melbourne International Comedy Festival show, We Are All In This, involved a very pointed diatribe at the expense of the Libs. That's the Liberal Party in Australia, not the American version of that word. Fuck off, Seppos. At one point in the show, he says, I'm not saying Liberal voters are bad people. I'm saying they're not people. They're cold-blooded lizards ruining the country who should go back to the hellmouth from where they came. He talked about COVID-19 running loose in nursing homes before tying it up with, but I checked and they were all Liberal voters. And then the climax of the bit, so I'm told, saw him saying, I hope you die, I hope you choke on your own franking credits, you evil, greedy, fascist, soulless pig dogs. And that is funny. But then Ballard lost a gig at a live opening night, a comedy festival gala performance, because it was going to be taped and ABC didn't want to tape that and air it. A spokesperson for the ABC followed that decision up by saying that they check all content prior to broadcast to ensure it meets editorial standards, and in this case it was determined that the risk of causing offence to viewers was not editorially justified. Tom Ballard is not new to the practice of having the ABC get a bit mad at him. In 2018, his show Tonightly was axed by the ABC after I think specifically it was a Greg Larson skit on the show, I'm not sure, but the skit involved labelling an Australian Conservatives Party member a cunt which, obviously is very, very bad word, very inappropriate word there. It's a very naughty, big, bad word to say. It's very big, bad, big trouble. So very naughty. It came out that there was internal pressure being exerted on the managing director by the ABC chairman at the time, Justin Milne, who wanted reporters that the government weren't happy with to get sacked. So the people in power at the ABC responded to political pressure. Remember that. There was leverage there. I think the problem with a lot of these things, though, is that it's very hard to gauge in 2021 if anyone actually gives two fucking shits about any of these controversies or not. I mean, honestly, you know that you could post Tom Ballard's comments on Daily Mail's your Facebook page and enrage 1,000 sad divorcee boomers. Sure. But you can do that about fucking anything, can't you? I mean, if you go and look at the Andrew Bolt RSS or the Channel 7 comment section, you would honestly come away thinking that people exist in a permanent fury holding pattern. Here is one of 100 comments that I gathered just the other day on the Sky News site, in which everyone was ropeable, bloody ropeable, about something to do with barbecues. I mean, you can induce boomers into a state of abject fury just by showing them the right colours, as demonstrated when a meme agency used that particular boomer magic spell to help Scott Morrison win an election, not to mention Brexit. There is a whole army of, middle-aged internet users who, they pay every single scammer who ever DMs them. They angry react every news article, and they get blocked by every grandchild that they have because they believe in corporal punishment for children and cutting the fingers off thieves, whatever they think. So you can't take their rage to mean that Ballard actually made anyone genuinely angry per se. These people are like the automated bots of organic human life. They literally spend all day doing whatever commercialised behaviour modification algorithms tell them to do. But of course, one thing your boomers get very huffy about at the moment is the cancel culture stuff these days. That bloody cancel culture they've got these days where you can't say nothing no more. Cancel culture is the wheelhouse of the conservative opinion columnist, primarily serving to give them something to talk about. In an Australian example, Herald Sun opinion columnist Andrew Bolt has done, I checked, no less than 15 bits of media this year with the words cancel culture in the headline, just over the course of the past year. So it's definitely the current soft culture war battlefield of choice for conservative types. Now, briefly, Vox defined cancel culture as the umbrella term for a society in which people are regularly, as they say, culturally blocked from having a prominent public platform or career. And conservative pundits, of course, frame those responsible as being, neo-Marxist leftists. Many lefties might say something like, and they do, say things like, actually the real cancel culture is on the right because Tom Ballard's cancellation proves it. Or more broadly, they like to say, you go onto Twitter, you see this all the time, they say cancel culture is just consequences. Definitely no one can seem to agree on who's responsible, but I think everyone seems to always reify the existence of something cancelly, don't they? I think the whole cancel culture is consequences stuff might be true in some respects, and there might be such a thing out there as people seeing consequences for their behaviour. Sure, I think there is. But I think it's all a bit basic bitch for me. Because I think that cultivating a moral panic to underwrite your political agenda or to undermine your opponent is absolutely a completely bipartisan goal. Everyone with an agenda wants to ruin their enemies and climb up atop a rudimentary ladder fashioned out of their broken, shattered bodies, don't they? I will admit, I do it all the fucking time. I do. I'm the worst. I mean, if you're a Nazi specifically, I'm the worst. You know, I will get you fucking sacked, mate. I will get you evicted, mate. I will make you sad, mate. I will ruin your fucking life. And have a chuckle about it after. I admit it, I do that. We hide the degree to which we do it, but I do. And I think if we don't do it, we still go online to support someone else who does it in our name or our politics, you know? So I think that's very simple 2021 shit. That's not a hot take. But of course, it doesn't behoove conservative opinion columnists to extend their concept to Tom Ballard because he lost his, you know, TV show in 2018 or his Melbourne International Comedy Festival gala set. You know, they're not going to do that just because bad things happened to him after he opened his mouth, do they? Of course they wouldn't do that. You know, that would be an own goal for them. I mean, in Andrew Bolt's column on Ballard, what he actually says is, Tom Ballard's sick Melbourne International Comedy Festival joke proves leftists aren't any kinder. And then he actually describes the consequences for Ballard as merely not getting away scot-free. And an example of the ABC having standards, he says. Of course, Andrew Bolt is happy to echo the popular left Twitter line that there is no cancel culture and the consequences when it suits him. You know, this is also basic as fuck. You know, it's not surprising. I don't expect Andrew Bolt to walk into his own trap. You know, he's not an idiot. He's a very wealthy grifter. But what I am really interested in is Andrew Bolt's introductory line in that article, that same one. Here we go. I'll read it to you. He goes, could any prominent conservative get away with venting such sadistic rage as Ballard did at the opening night gala of the Melbourne International Comedy Festival? No prominent conservative would dare, would they? Not in this bad cancel culture climate they have these days. Oh no, perish the thought, perish it. You know, if any conservative commentator ever did that, you know, ever threatened, you know, violence in any way, shape or form, they'd be cancelled off the face of the earth. No exceptions. Except for the Mark Latham bit that I'll get to. Stay with me if you want that scandalous, exclusive, hot content exclusive scandal. Not yet though. I want to talk about another culture first. Internet culture. It's time we had a heart-to-heart about internet culture. Let's talk about it. Hey, let me start out by being a difficult cunt and questioning the whole concept of culture. Culture, what's that? What is it? What do we mean when we say culture? I enjoyed a recent Overland article on this subject by Michael Griffiths, and it's called Cancelling the Culture. It questions the entire concept of what we call culture, which, so he suggests, is in the neoliberal paradigm we have now, we've had for some time, merely means anything that's not this kind of venerated individual. He says, if Margaret Thatcher famously declared that there was no society, only individuals, neoliberal discourse now offers the culture as the catch-all explanation for anything and everything that is not reducible to the individual. Basically, it becomes kind of second-hand for this sort of obfuscatory blame removal, a kind of distancing device. You know, one can't pin the blame on any one thing. One can't even focus on any one issue. Oh no, it's the culture. It's a thought-terminating cliche, and we'll get into more of those later on. So I said internet culture, but I don't mean it per se. What I want to pinpoint is a certain cutthroat practice of the internet. Now, I'm an old something awful forum nerd, mate. I've been on the internet for 25 fucking years, which makes me feel rather ancient. So I know what happens online and what has happened online for a long time. What we do is we seek out weak spots in our opponents or targets and we campaign to take them down a notch. That's very common. This is the only same approach long taken by, for example, the mainstream or tabloid media. Wouldn't you agree? Wouldn't you agree that nobody has, for example, quite the power to cancel as readily as, say, a motivated and well-connected journo? In 2003, there was a Canadian engineer named Steve Mann who coined the term surveillance, which basically means surveillance from below. The idea of the many watching the few. Now, Steve was only talking about the wearable glasses that he was developing and how they might help contribute to a culture of collective surveillance. Here's a few photos of Steve wearing wearable glasses. Go, Steve. Sick cunt, Steve. Mad cunt. But with Web 2.0, the kind of distribution of social media hubs as the base of the internet experience as we sort of see it now, it kind of came to represent the power that we now all have, I think, to watch and swiftly act on anything or anyone we want to online through social media campaigning. Well, we're all watchers, but we also have some sort of agency to be able to act now if we should so choose. And we do. Online shaming culture is a thing that spans all corners of the internet. And long before it was political online, it was still happening, but it was just more social or maybe entertainment based. And that probably reflects its DNA as something that we would have all seen as we grew up in tabloid media. But as the ubiquity of the internet spread through to the current days Internet of Things, as they call it, where everything is a fucking smart TV, a smart watch, all active bits of tech, really, so did the power of the net to fuck with everyone and anything. Anonymous demonstrated in 1314 and thereafter that trolling and subterfuge campaigns can have not just shaming consequences but political consequences, and I think we never looked back from there. But more importantly, we conduct most of this behaviour all in the sandpit of big tech platforms who've rewritten the entire concept of the internet to frame themselves, as we discussed earlier, as the base of the user experience online. We don't go to news groups like we did 7,000 years ago when I started using the internet. We don't have this individualised experience of the internet. We don't hit up one of a variety of search engines even anymore. We Google or we Facebook. Google and Facebook are these oligarchic surveillance capitalism giants. And that brings me to Harvard professor Shoshana Zuboff, who coined that term, surveillance capitalism, and it means private human experience as free raw material for translation into behavioural data. You really have to go and read that book, Age of Surveillance Capitalism. I think you should go and stop my stupid, dumb, idiot video and go and read that now. You spend your time far better doing that. Powerful entities have a huge commercial interest in taking all of your data from every little thing you do, and the benefit of that is using all of that surplus data to either fortune tell or, even better, actively manipulate how you behave. Squeeze all your data out of you for a bit of, ultimately, behavioural modification. That's the real prize. You, my friend, are nothing but a big, pink, throbbing data teat. And by now it has been proven that the way we feel, think, and even vote can be actively manipulated by the clients of big tech. It's been proven in studies, and then, what's more, it's been done many times over. Cambridge Analytica proved that you will vote for whoever pays for it. A study proved that Facebook can deliberately make you sad, for example, or predict when you will be. so that you can then be sold happy stuff at opportune moments by Facebook clients. Pokemon Go, which was actually created by Google through a fake shell startup game company using technology originally developed for a CIA-funded mapping app. I know that sounds like a conspiracy. Clearly you haven't read the book. That proved that you can be made to walk in 3D real-life meat space with your actual body into whatever fucking shop Google's clients pay for you to walk into. And the agents in question in this climate don't have to be the oligarchs themselves. They can be parasitic rogues too. Like when it was established, for example, in the Aussie context, that the best performing far-right Facebook pages of the entire Patriot movement, Reclaim Australia and onwards, were in fact just paid clickbait scamming exercises using fake news site shells run by a small group of teenage Kosovar scammers who were milking racist boomers for their dollars. What do I want to say about the sandpit in which we conduct all of our cancelling, all of our discourse? I want to say that it relies on you not being critical. Actually, it needs you to be in a mode where you aren't in order for you to be at your most suggestible for the purposes of behavioural modification. Don't take it from me. Take it from the book that I recommended you read earlier, Age of Surveillance Capitalism. And I quote, "Surveillance capitalists must use all means available to supplant autonomous action with heteronymous behaviour. Human awareness is a threat to surveillance revenues because the mobilisation of awareness endangers the larger project of behaviour modification. And the salience of self-awareness as a bulwark against self-regulatory failure is also highlighted in recent research on susceptibility to persuasion, and it concludes that the ability to premeditate is the single most important determinant of one's ability to resist persuasion. So we can imagine now, can't we, who benefits and how and why from a rat wheel, thought-terminating outrage culture. You are now actually more valuable to the surveillance capitalists online if you participate in that culture and don't think critically. Who'd have thunk? Cancel culture. We need to talk about it. It's the grandchild, I would argue, of the political correctness concept. Political correctness took shape in 1990. It was originally an attack on a perceived leftist bias in college spaces. It was a weapon being used in a content war to try and influence the reclamation of American campus spaces for conservative interests. PC turned out to be such an effective brainworm that it transformed the careers of conservative culture warriors through the 90s right through to today, funded by conservative think tanks who knew that they were onto something. It's a good weapon. It's a very good one. It's perhaps the best one that the modern right has ever had. And cancel culture is practically or functionally just a variant term on PC. It's not to say you can't define them differently, but in practice, all it really serves to do is give PC a new lick of paint. Call out culture, identity politics, political correctness, cancel culture. All these terms become practically interchangeable. If you don't believe me, just try and define the difference. PC is where you can't say nothing no more. They'll bloody get you and you end up in fucking you can't say nothing. Yeah, you seen it. The PC, yeah. And cancel culture is you can't even say nothing no more. They'll get you when you can't say nothing, otherwise I'll get ya. Yeah, the cancel culture, you seen it, yeah? Yeah. Cancel culture is a very effective, thought-terminating cliche. Let's talk about it. Now that means language which functions as a way of obstructing further debate or analysis. And we'll take one relevant recent-ish example. Say we want to have a conversation about an issue which has sprung up around a cheese brand which wants to change its name of its cheese. And then Rowan Dean hops on Sky News to say that that is a terrible example of the modern left and cancel culture in action. So what Mr. Dean has just done there is he's relocated the arena for the debate over to this stand-in cliche, a representative debate on this cancel culture thing, instead of a more plain-speaking yarn about whether the fucking cheese brand simply wanted to continue making money without getting in trouble or not. And it is a good trick. I imagine it's in Sun Tzu's Art of War, but I'm not the kind of guy who wears tap-out clothing and has a model katana on my living room wall, so I haven't read that book. But you have to know that a world in which the cheeses and the fucking barbecues and comedians just doing comedy sets and fucking actual rapists in power all somehow being lumped together under one culture, that's not a real world. That's definitely a made-up one. Those things are very, very different things. So this is, at best, a red herring. You're meant to keep you uncritical and keep Andrew Bolt in a job. And if you want to know in short what I really believe, what my real conspiracy theory is, it's that I believe that in a behavioural modification sandpit, we're enslaved to the algorithmic expectations of social media as political communications. In that sandpit, we all reduce our talk to cliche. For example, hashtags. For example, the way that you see any effective political communicator online talk. In order to perform, in order to be promoted by that secret, guarded language of the algorithm. In that sandpit, modifying our behaviour is the most valuable thing. So they want us speaking in cliche. It makes us more suggestible. Or, as Shoshana Zuboff said in Age of Surveillance Capitalism, and I quote, "Surveillance capitalists' interests have shifted from using automated machine processes to know about your behaviour to using machine processes to shape your behaviour according to their interests." In other words, this decade-and-a-half trajectory has taken us from automating information flows about you to automating you. So when it comes to the question of cliche as a replacement for real political analysis, I think it's a little bit more important than just coming off smart. In fact, I think it's a matter that affects us all. So to look at where we've come at this stage and to take stock, I suppose. What I've tried to do is to point out that there is definitely a certain mercenary and cutthroat practice of the internet conducted over a very long period of time. And also, there's the fact that it's carried out increasingly in the cradle of a data extraction, social media sandpit environment that needs users easily manipulated in order to conduct the behavioural modification purposes that make it as lucrative as possible for its big tech oligarch owners. And I've also tried to point out that all of this is completely, utterly misrepresented to the degree of seeming like a red herring by a thought-terminating cliche called cancel culture that both fails to describe it and only seems to serve the purpose of conservative oligarchs and pundits. I'm trying to say there's a lot going on. A lot of very different, disparate shit that we're not necessarily discussing. So I think we can personally escape this rat maze by being clear-headed and discussing each issue case by case on its own merits. We shouldn't be sucked into thought-terminating cliches that seem very much designed to block us from real political or cultural analysis. I believe that we must start by stopping all conversation about cancel culture. And of course we will do. But not before we get to this scandalous, exclusive, hot content. Remember Andrew Bolt's article? I'll remind you, he goes, could any prominent conservative get away with venting such sadistic rage as Ballard did at the opening night gala of the Melbourne International Comedy Festival? And I think that is a very salient, relevant question posed by Andrew Bolt. Thank you, Bolter. I'm going to let Mark Latham answer that question in his own special way. Mark Latham, the state leader of One Nation in New South Wales. One Nation politician, of course. So Mark Latham was at the CPAC 2020 conference. That's the Conservative Grifter Conference for conservative grifters. And he'd done a speech at CPAC 2020. And at the beginning of his speech, Mark says something special that I think Bolt or you might be interested in. So I'm going to play it. Mark, take it away.
Well, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I won't speak for too long this afternoon, basically for two reasons. One is that we're all on the edge of our seat wanting to check the American election results, which are very close, but Trump has his nose in front. And the other is that I understand my second reason for not speaking for too long is that there's a new CPAC drinking game. And that is that in the beautiful presentation of Ross Cameron, if there was anything you didn't understand, you had to scull your drink. We love Ross, but if you understand Marcus Aurelius, you're a better man than me, Gunga Din, because I've gone through all those Latin translations, tome after tome, that Ross sends out to me, night after night, reading them, trying to work out what it all means, and I'm still looking for that magical Latin translation in the words of the great man. Those magical words. Sod the left, let's kill them. But I'm still struggling to come across it, Ross. Plenty about the pandemic, not enough on killing the left.
Wait, what? What's this prominent conservative saying here? Is he repeatedly making reference to killing lefties, using the flimsy veneer of looking for a translated Latin quote on the matter? Hang on, let's listen to this again.
Those magical words. Sod the left, let's kill them. Plenty about the pandemic, not enough on killing the left. Sod the left, let's kill them. Killing the left. Sod the left, let's kill them. Killing the left.
Holy shit, he is saying that! Sound the cancel culture clarion! Cancel culture brigade, ride out! Like and share! Like and share my hot content about Mark Latham! Remember to credit me, everyone! Remember to put my name in your articles, journalists! Remember to quote me directly! Let's get me on the project about this! Like and share! The problem is I don't think Mark Latham's employers give a fuck. And that's where we hit into one of the main practical problems with this whole cancel culture cliche shebang, isn't it? The effectiveness of any cancellation is really only about two things. One is who is in power over the person who would receive your appeal for action. And the other is what leverage do you have with the information you have. So, let's talk about both Ballard instances that we talked about earlier in the video, the Tonightly cancellation and the gala performance video set cancellation. They both required powerful senior forces within the ABC to turn against Ballard and impact Ballard. And of course that's exactly what happened. Did Ballard go over the top? Well, no, I think it was funny. I think it was a vitriolic diatribe meant to get laughs in terms of its being over the top, its aggression. And I think the audiences seeking out that kind of thing should be able to find it. they should be able to locate that kind of thing if they want, whether it be as a pressure valve release for their frustrations with the libs or otherwise. But the thing is that all of this is the wrong question. It doesn't matter what I think about whether Ballard went over the top or not. This is not a question of values. Because everyone does this campaigning against their opponents, as we talked about earlier. It's a question of power and leverage. Who's in power over Ballard in this situation? The ABC, in both of these situations. And the ABC is, I think, increasingly kind of a hack institution of terrified public servants who have been petrified into submission by right-wing appointments and repeat funding cuts. So it's not should Ballard get in trouble, it's will he? And of course the answer to that is he did. He already did. We know that he did, more than once. Now take Mark Latham. I have just showed you a video of him talking in a pretty barefaced fashion about killing lefties. Yay! Let's get some cancels going. I hate the cunt. Did he go over the top? Yes, sure he did. He's a politician. He's not a comedian. So he's an actual politician who talked about killing lefties. You saw the exclusive footage. Should he face consequences for it? Well, the answer to that is yes, and the consequences should be that he should be shot in the face at point-blank range. Whew. Sorry about that. I just got cancelled. Oh, it hurts. No, look, again, I hate the cunt. I wish the worst on him. I really do. I would chuckle at his downfall. But again, what should happen to him is the wrong question. The only question that we should be really asking if we're going to waste time scoring points against our political opponents and dabbling in thought-terminating cliches is not should he be cancelled, but will he be? No, of course he won't. Mark is a One Nation Party member. They're fucking ghouls, mate. They're lizards, they're pond scum. Their power rests on trying to piss you off. Do you think they'll respond to a call for action against someone else who does precisely that? I don't think so, not at all. And if you don't agree with my approach to cancel culture, or if you think I'm wrong about it in some way, then like I said at the start of the video, I have given you the tools to prove me wrong. Here's all you have to do. You have to clip out the bit where I showed One Nation political candidate Mark Latham at CPAC 2020 talking about killing all lefties. And then you can see what you can get done with it, champ. Because that shit was public too. That anyone could have found that video. No one seemed to talk about it up till now, but here I am. Now, if you can use that to get him sacked, then we'll revisit this conversation after we have a bit of a giggle, of course, and after I'm done giving you the special gold medal You've Cancelled Mark Latham prize, which I will literally create and give to anyone who can get him fired for that video. I will make an actual physical gold medal. But if I'm right and it doesn't do shit, then no matter who you are, be you left, right, radical, centrist, whoever, do me a favour and stop demeaning yourself by using these thought-terminating cliches like cancel culture. And I particularly say that to you lefties. That's right, I'm talking to you fucking lefties. Because I fucking see some of you talking about it, Get fucked. Any lefties who validate the existence of this patently non-existent red herring fucking phenomenon are no better than those lefties who deploy the I hate identity politics, man line. No, mate, you don't even know what fucking identity politics are. You haven't bothered. You haven't fucking bothered to read it. If you bothered to understand, you wouldn't make such a cunt out of yourself. But you do, and you shouldn't. You shouldn't get ahead of yourself, mate, because these tools, they're not for you, okay? They're not going to get you invited to the party, mate, with your pick-me-ass fucking, oh, I'm just like you, I'm just like the working class energy. You might make your blessed working class fucking unicorns love you by saying you hate id poll or cancel culture. Sorry, unless your name's fucking Andrew Bolt, it's not meant for you. It's not going to benefit you. It's low vibration, pick me ass shit. Will not win you any fucking mates. You're not getting invited to the working class parties, you fucking weirdo. The entire rhetoric is for conservative pundits only. Sorry. It is beneath you. Cancel culture doesn't exist. The whole idea is a dumb cliche. Stop giving Andrew Bolt a fucking job. Grow up, mate. Don't agree with me? Go make something useful out of yourself and go get Latham fucking fired. Show me how fucking wrong I am. Go on, I'm giving you the clip. Thank you. Goodbye. Go on, run along. Patreon.com/Thought-terminating. Thank you. Fucking hell. Give me some fucking money. Fuck you. Make something useful out of yourself for once. Give me some fucking money, cunt. Jesus fucking Christ. Let's cancel culture. More Patreon bucks. How does that sound, cunt eyes? Go and scream. This fucking music is doing my head in. I'm in fucking marketing ad agency purgatory. Fuck.